Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to demonstrate how to use Danomics new Flows tools to smooth your map and write that out for use in the mapping toolkit. So let's get started. You'll see here I have a CPI file open and I've already completed my interpretation here and I've got a porosity map and I'd like to do a little bit of cleanup on this and smooth this map out before I get it ready for display. So to do this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by exporting a grid here. And so I've came to my batch output, I've added a grid output, and I've selected the zone and the property here. I then hit the play button for the batch output. This pops open the menu here, and it'll say initializing, running, and then finished. And this project has about 70 wells, so this will take somewhere between 20 and 30 seconds. While that's running, I'm going to create the flow that we will use for smoothing the map. So to do this, I go File, New Flow, and I'm just going to give this a name here. So I'm going to say my Alston Chalk VT Smoothing Flow. So I'm going to say OK. And we have our new blank flow here, so we'll need to add the components. So we're going to add a grid input, say Add. We're going to add a grid smooth. And finally, we're going to have a grid output, which will write out that grid. So in the grid input, I'm going to select that grid file that I had previously made, and that is called my Alston VT grid. For the grid smooth, I'm going to choose the kernel size here. So I'm going to go with a kernel size of 13, which is the default. And then finally, I'm going to write out my Alston Chalk VT smooth.grid. So once that's ready, I just hit the play button here. And because we're not doing any petrophysical calculations, this will be a very quick process and it'll just take a few seconds to run. While that's running, I am going to create a new map file to display this in. So I'm going to say File, New Map. And I'm just going to give this a quick name here and say OK. And we see that that smoothing process is now done. And what I'll do is I'm going to add two layers to this map. The first layer I'm going to add is a property layer. And underneath this, I'm going to choose my original grid because I want to compare these two here. So this is my Alston VT grid. And I'm going to hit close there. And then I'm going to choose my the smooth grid that I created. That's this AC VT smooth.grid, and I'm going to hit close there. And I'm going to zoom in here to the area of interest. And let me turn off the smooth grid at first. And here, when we look at this grid, it's fairly smooth to get started, but we see there's a few areas where there are little bumps here, like in this area. And when after the smoothing, we see that those have gone away. So we see that the smoothing has taken effect here. And so let's turn on and off the original, and you can see, the effect that the smoothing has had. It's been a very minor effect, but that's what we're going for. It's just wanted to clean up some of those small changes. Now, we generated our initial input grid from the CPI file. We could generate that within the flow itself. To do that, what you would do is you would need to use the CPI log calc building block, and we'll demonstrate that in a separate video. Thank you.